Okay, it is now 8:35, so I suppose we can get started. Welcome to the first demo for you guys for Intro to Android. Thanks again for coming. So as a general agenda for today and as a general just sort of idea of how these demos will work, for this particular demo, not always for all demos, we will go through a little bit of a walkthrough together, especially since it's your first time with Android Studio. We'll go through a little bit of a walkthrough of how to like create a new project, how to navigate through your files and whatnot. Um, and then after the walkthrough, we'll have some time for you guys to work through this demo like handout that we've given you on the textbook on your own time. And then in the end, for the final 20 minutes, we'll have a quick like walkthrough and have some time for you to ask us questions as well. This is like the general end product you hope to make. It's relatively simple, but hopefully still tests a good amount of ideas with containers, modifiers, passing in the right arguments in order to make a, well, relatively convoluted Eatery-esque card, if you're familiar with our app Eatery, that you can make here that will, if you can make this, hopefully allow you to pretty much make any other layout or component in terms of like UI and arranging stuff as you will ever encounter going forward. So as a just to make sure, is there anybody who has not installed Android Studio yet? Because we will help you with that if you have not. But is any raise of hands anybody who has not installed Android Studio yet? Okay, cool. We'll get to you after this walkthrough. But for now, we'll assume that you have installed it. But if you have not, that is fine, and we will walk around to help you with that. But for the time being, we'll do a quick walkthrough through the handout as well as like making a new project. So you'll see here on the handout, and you'll be able to get to this through our course website, not there. Our course website over here in week one demo lecture eatery card. Every single week we'll post a demo like this. That's basically like a set of instructions of how to walk through the demo for that week. And then later on in that week, or I suppose after Wednesday, we will post the solutions as well in the relevant links. But for now, we will go over like a sort of walkthrough at the beginning of this. And again, for this demo, we have a little bit of a setup that we will help you guys with in the beginning. So I guess just to get started, make sure everybody opens up Android Studio. And once we are there, we'll give everybody a little bit of time to catch up with this, but you'll likely be greeted with this screen, or if not, a screen indicating like a project that you already have open. In the case that you're on this screen, make sure to go to a new project and it'll open up a set of options for you. Otherwise, let's say, for example, I already have lectures demos open. You can go to File, New Project, and then get to the same screen. So from here, we'll be making a new Android project essentially from scratch for this demo for this week. And so here you want to make just like an empty activity. This icon here is the Jetpack Compose one, and the other ones are like Android native, which is like a more outdated version of Android. You'll want to use the Compose. So empty activity, click that, and you can set a name, a package name, like a file system location for this. In terms of the name, you can just call it like demo1, something like that. The package name, this is something that's not too important. It'll probably just say com.example.whatever for you guys, and that's fine. It's kind of just like a delineation for like what organization you're in or whatever, but it's not important. And the SDK, I currently have it to 28. You can also do that if that will like make Gradle less like annoying, because sometimes Gradle has some problems running and whatnot. And so once you have these settings, there's not much you actually have to change here. You can just hit finish and it'll create your project for you. If you have another tab open, it'll create it in a different window. You'll probably just want to close the existing one you have. So yeah, you'll have now demo1, this project open, and Gradle will automatically run, or at least sync. We anticipate there might be some like Gradle problems later on because Gradle is annoying, but at least the sync should succeed fine, and please let us know if that does not succeed. But nonetheless, we will proceed. So in order to see like sort of the Android file system or the Android like version of the project file view here, you'll just need to let Gradle build for a little bit. Otherwise, it'll show you the project build here. So we'll let it build, and in the meantime, I'll take a quick look back at the walkthrough. So that was step one done, basically making a new project. And now, so for step two, we will go through like the file system and how to create new files within your Android project. Hopefully Gradle's done building, not quite. It will take a little while for these sorts of things. Any problems that people have had up until this point?
How do you know?
Mhm. Oh, this little progress bar here is like the Gradle progress. And if you click this little hammer icon, it'll open up like a window for it. Currently looks like it's downloading some stuff. So depending on your like specs for your laptop and whatnot, this may take a while. So hopefully it doesn't take too long. It took me 1 minute and 25 seconds. So I guess you can benchmark how fast your laptop is compared to mine. And then now once you have the Gradle complete, you will see this new Android view. And this is like a more condensed version of the file system. You can technically go back to the raw files by clicking on project, but for most purposes, we'll just want to stick with the Android view because it's nice and doesn't look too convoluted or anything. Okay, and so the actual files that you'll be working with are mostly in this Kotlin plus Java folder here. And so if you sort of right click on these files and whatnot, you can start making new files. So let's take a look at what our handout says. So it says to set up some new files. So first off, let's see. So we'll want to make a file called eatery card and a file called main screen. So in order to do that, I'll just right click on the package, or I guess the folder. Packages and folders are almost the same thing. I'll go to new Kotlin file, and the first one I'll make is eatery card. This is a file that will contain the eatery card component and nothing else, and maybe like a preview for it. You might see, for some reason, Android's annoying and it pops up this window. Basically, to change between the code and a preview, or just the preview, you'll switch between these three little buttons here. But right, for now, we'll just leave this file empty, and we'll make also a main screen. So we'll have these two files, eatery card and main screen. And so that is all we have for step two. Any questions, any hookups, or any hangups with that? Okay, awesome. And let's see, for step three, we'll give you a couple of, let's see, quicker things, or a little bit of like a start for eatery card, as well as a preview for it. So I thought we had 4 steps, actually 3. So I have 4 tasks, right? But 3 steps. So this is the last step. And then after that, we'll leave you to work through the tasks on your own. But just to start, you'll want to add these functions to eatery card. And this will more or less get you started with starting to make your own component. And so if we go into eatery card, we can sort of copy that over, make a composable fun eatery card. And then this is essentially our UI component. And then we have this other one. Make a note about that actually. At preview composable. So that app preview annotation is what allows this to be like previewed in that little bar there, which we'll open in a second. Oops, I have AI autocomplete. I should probably turn that off for you guys. But yeah, so now that we have this eatery card preview, if we build and refresh, now this may fail on some Android Studio versions because it's annoying. If it does, it might even fail on my end. I guess we'll see. But hopefully it builds fine. And when it builds fine, the preview will open up here. One note is that your preview functions should be private, just so that other files don't accidentally call them, because preview functions are not supposed to be used as an actual UI component. They're much more just supposed to be viewed for you as a developer in this file. So you want to make it private so that it's not actually called by other places in the code. But yeah, with that, this is all you should see because we made nothing. The component's empty. Just a little thing that says eatery card preview. At this point, we'll leave everybody to work on their own. It's been 10 minutes for our walkthrough, but you might encounter Gradle problems, and so absolutely let us know. You can raise your hand if you run into any problem like that. But you should be at this point, and once you're at this point, you'll be absolutely free to just start working on those tasks. And they're laid out in sort of 4 tasks here for you to complete one by one. And as a quick little note, make sure to look at the hints on the handout, because a lot of the stuff may not be things that you'll find necessarily on the slides from yesterday. That's a lot of stuff that you'll have to sort of even like Google or ask us for some help. So make sure to look at our hints and ask us a lot of questions if you get stuck. Any questions about the agenda for today and what to do? Okay, in that case, we'll start walking around to answer questions and to also help Android Studio slash Gradle things. So with that in mind, I suppose I'll just leave this up here. But yeah, we'll leave you all to it. So see you guys in 20 minutes when we start going through our walkthrough. Like the sound. So we're going to get rid of it. Oh yeah, but we don't. That's like so like this is what and then do that in reality. Oh, we have. Is it just add circle? Oh, so whenever you want to call a composable, you don't just add. Add's like an annotation that allows you to put like tell. For example, it allows function. But if you want to call your, you just use I function. That's where the next steps that'll.
I think that's a good. Yeah,
It didn't fail.
it hasn't failed yet.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
No.
And we did.
Usually, it not to each other. I'm sorry about what for just like this, and it will tell you all the arguments, as well as like information about them. Oh, I'm just taking my person, like putting it there, like
Oh, okay, cool.
exactly. I guess something you just switch your phone when it's too like intelligent. But well, not that's super yeah, I want to what does more or less how to use it actually. Well, you oh, actually, but you
She wants to be.
So, different from keyword quality. So, back to the weight. Weight. Hard. So if you want it like you have
Are you happy?
well, take put it on both. Yeah. Oh, wait, so it's invisible.
Are you drunk enough?
So, I think
Now to judge what I'm doing.
so they're not problems.
So whenever
Are you high enough to excuse that I'm ruined?
That kind of
Cause I'm ruined.
works with me, like
defining
Is it
problems.
late
I just
enough
mentioned the portrait ball thing.
for you to come and stay over?
It's like a screw.
Problems.
It's
Free to love, so tease me.
like yeah.
I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. Tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's fault that
Is it loud enough? Cause my body is calling for you, calling for you. I need someone to do the things that I do. I'm healing out, energy taking control. I'm speeding up, my heartbeat's dancing along. I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. Tonight. Cause I need a green light. Day and night, say that you're mine. Cause I need I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. I made no promises. I can't do golden rings, but I'll give you everything. Magic is in the air. There ain't no science here, so come get your everything. Tonight.
The tough here that actually like no other and so we just want to use something. But for like this, for example, for these, because there's only one element, you just don't need so the column on its own will just
We're going back in time. I'd like to see you try. Unpacking thoughts through tunnels in your mind.
yeah, very good.
I'll fix you mushroom tea and cross the restless sea. Release yourself to escape reality. It doesn't phase you. I need a breakthrough. I only want what's right in front of me. It's quite unusual. Seeking approval, begging for it desperately. I said.
Yeah, there's one or two that so that means something and
How do I make you love me? How do I make you fall for me? How do I make you want me? You make it last eternal. How do I make you love me? How do I make you fall for me? How do I make you want me? I can see the real you, girl, you don't have to hide. Forget about what your daddy said, I'll teach you how to shine. And all the things you tolerated made you cold inside. But I can touch you up again like embers of a fire. It doesn't phase you, I need a breakthrough. I only want what's right in front of me. It's quite unusual, seeking approval, begging for it desperately. I say, how do I make you love me? How do I make you fall for me? How do I make you want me? You make it last eternal. How do I make you love me? How do I make you fall for me? How do I make you want me? You make it last eternal.
what's all there.
Oh, really?
That's exactly. But I don't know what that bird will. This one not down. I'm going down.
So
I guess we'll see what happens.
I take a while. Still short.
Okay, so if that still fails, I want you to, if like after, like it'll stop at some point. If you still can't import it, can you look over actually at his screen and basically like copy over the import? It might still fail, but we'll.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you shouldn't have to. Manage that, right?
Yeah,
That shouldn't be. It's kind of strange. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Last one. Last one. Okay.
So it's not loading.
So this actually should be. Oh yeah. One thing. It's like pretty close. So we probably intended to apply these modifiers surface, but you just kind of like put them here instead of looking at to apply them. Okay, that's and then if you want to apply to it, you'll need the modifier down. Oh, at least you should see. Press the green button. Okay, next thing. That looks good. Okay. Seems like we have only 12 minutes left actually, but hopefully I can still get through the solution more or less here. I'm pretty fast with this stuff, so hopefully it's fine. Let's see. Is everybody ready to go over though? And I guess if not, we can help you with stuff after. But I suppose to start, we'll start like going over the solutions now. So to start off, the first thing we want is to make that little like surface card. And so what we'll do is we'll call the surface composable that's given to us. Most things in Android Studio, you'll have to import. Oh, this is weird. Oh, there we go. We know. I got it now. For some reason, I could import it now. So yeah, import surface. You'll have to import a lot of things in Android Studio. So import surface. I had some questions about how to roll over something. That's a very good question. I feel like CS classes should teach you that better. By rolling over, I just mean literally taking my cursor and pointing it over to surface, and then a bunch of arguments will pop up. That tells me what I can pass in to that surface in order to change like the function arguments to make it look different. And so some things that I want, say color, I want to set it to white. So that's color.white. Let's see what else. I want the shadow elevation to be 40dp. I want the shape to be rounded corner shape 40p. And these are just things I memorized from the handout. Or is it? It's 12, I believe. And then as finally, the modifiers, I said to put a modifier of height, what was it, 220 dp? And again, you'll have to import a lot of stuff. So after I put this, I'll have to import, you'll want to do the compose one, as well as height. I have like a thing that auto imports sometimes. When in doubt, import something that says compose or composable, and it'll probably be the right one. But in any case, you'll want to put these, and always make sure when it comes to these like elevation dimensions things in Android, you use the DP measurement here. And I want to fill max width, or else that's not going to show me anything. Okay, so then that'll show me this. For some reason, everybody was zoomed in all the way. I don't know why. So this is now what you shall see. And so this is sort of like task one. Any questions getting the card up to this surface? Okay, cool. So now in order to put things in the surface, we'll go into the body here. So this function here, this open close curly brace, oops, let me expand this a little bit. Inside the curly braces here, this is where the body of the component will go. So if you want anything to appear inside of the surface, you'll want to put it inside of these braces here. So for now, in order to make something sort of split vertically, we'll use a column. This is sort of hinted to you on the handout. So if we add a column here, then now we're basically saying that everything inside of the surface, if we put it in this column, will be ordered vertically. And just for, I think, let me take a look at the handout so I'm not misleading. Oops. Sorry, Post Malone. You have to go. Okay, cool. Let's see. So yeah, a column and okay, two boxes, sure. So basically, more or less, if you want things to take up the exact same amount of space in any container, or I guess not any container, but some containers like column and row, you can use the weight modifier on items within that container. So if we apply weight here to this box and weight as well as to this box, oops, I used somebody's Mac. I was using command. I'm a Windows now. Okay. In order to make them take up the same space within this column, we'll apply weight equally to both of them. And in order to see that effect, I'll apply a background to make this have a color. So I'll say color equals, and then I put a color for you here. Oops, I'm still using Mac controls. There we go. And something nice that also should probably be taught to you, Control Alt L or equivalently Command Alt L on like Windows and Mac will transform your code into something ugly like this into nicely formatted like that. So make sure to spam that whenever possible. But yeah, oops, that did not work. What's going on? Color equals. I think this column might need to have a modifier as well. Let's try that modifier. Modifier dot fill max size. If that doesn't work, not sure.
You have to fill next to the box.
Oh, yes, very true. Because these are basically taking up no space here, but I need to fill max width here. Thank you very much. So fill max width on the box on the top at least will make it fill the width, whereas before it was just 1 pixel because there's nothing in there. Thank you very much for that. I would have been stuck. But nonetheless, here you have the task 2 at least separated between the vertically top and bottom. And so now if we want the bottom to have some extra content, we can pass in a curly brace here in order to give the bottom like sort of box extra content. But any questions on any of that I just did? I know I wrote a bunch of stuff quite fast. Any questions on any of those modifiers I wrote or what they do? Okay, awesome. I'm likely going to have to get through this last part like kind of quickly, so apologies about that. But if we take a look back at the handout, oh yeah, that was hint 1. I gave a hint and then I forgot about my hint. But nonetheless, if we go to task 3, we'll see that we want to arrange a bunch of texts more or less similarly like this. So in order to do that, one way you can at least look at this and start to think about how to break it up is perhaps by thinking of how you can use a container within this bottom box here to arrange these in sort of a nice way code-wise. So the way that we will do it here is that if you imagine that this is just one element and this is another element, everything on the left here being one sort of contiguous thing and the other thing on the right, then we can just separate those with a row. The sort of all this content being the leftmost element and then this being the rightmost element. And then the leftmost element we can make with a column, putting these texts vertically. So more or less in code, what that'll look like is to make the entire thing, we'll make a row encompassing it all. Again, you'll probably have to import that. That's annoying. Import composable. And so to make the rightmost text, it'll just be a text. We'll say open. And to make everything else, we'll add a column. And again, you'll need to import this. And because it's a component, you want to import the composable one. These might look a little, oops, I don't know what I just pressed. These might look a little strange at first. Oh, I'm still using Mac controls. But yeah, now we can add a couple of texts here vertically to make that column thing on the left. And we'll see what that looks like since we definitely need to tweak some things inside of the row and the column here in order to make it look nice. But nonetheless, this is what we're at least first met with. So we have open, 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 and open. I guess I can change these to like open shields, what other things? Ithaca and accepts BRBs. But nonetheless, it'll still all be really like squished on the left here. So let's see, let's tackle this one thing at a time. So I guess first off, one thing is that obviously we want the open here to be all the way to the right. And that is sort of all the way to the right of the surrounding row, correct? So we have the open here, and that is a property of the row, or it's a sort of a child of the row. And so some parameters of the row tell you how to sort of horizontally arrange elements within it. So if we take the horizontal arrangement thing here, it's currently set to start. And if we change this over to arrangement dot space between, that should put, oops, I should also, so space between will fill the entire space between the two, but because the row is only sort of taking as much space as it needs to for these two elements, it will only like add a tiny bit of space. If we instead add a modifier to make this bottom row take up the entire space and then put the space in between, now you can see the open sort of takes all the way over to the right because there's now all of this space in between here, if that makes sense. And so now I guess I can, let's see what to do next. I think one thing next that we can look at, if we go back to our picture here, we see that there's a good amount of like padding around the entire row that we have. And so something again nice about like composed components is that you can apply modifiers to more or less any component in your hierarchy. So if I just add some padding here, say 24 dp, then you'll see that most of the text elements will now glob more towards the center since there's sort of 24 dimension paddings all around the elements there. Okay, so I'll blaze through a couple of things for the text, but if you want to change the size of the font, you can just access the font size modifier. So for this one, I'll add like 60 or 24.sp. SP is similar to DP in that SP is kind of just like a unit for font size. I'll make these a little smaller. Let's say 16. Oops, I'm still using Mac controls. Okay, and that'll at least make that look a little better. And maybe I'll change this one as well. Oh gosh, I'm still using Mac controls, my brain. Okay, so with that, the text will change in size at least. So we can see what that looks like. So you can see there that's getting a little bit closer. And now if I change the font weight on this, for example, the font weight is sort of like regular, bold, light, stuff like that. So if I do font weight.bold, then that'll change OpenShields over to bold. If I do the same thing to open, then open will change to bold as well. And finally, to more correctly match that, we can say color.green in order to make that open text green. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. And it says open. That's good stuff. Let's see. In the meantime, let me pull out my Android phone because hopefully I can actually show this appearing on the phone itself. But this is more or less the, I guess, completed component, at least the visuals. That's the most important part right now. And so if your component generally looks like this, that's sort of the point of the demo. Walking through setting like the rows, modifiers, columns, stuff like that in order to arrange it like this. I guess the stopping point there, any questions on anything I just did, since I know all of that was written relatively quickly. Apologies for that. I should leave more time for demo going forward, but any questions on anything done there? Yes, question.
So the last text in my column gets cut off a little bit. How do I
The last section in your column, this one, for example, would get cut off.
Yeah, like the PRVs one,
Mhm.
that gets cut off like at the bottom.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's getting a little cut off from me as well.
Okay.
Let's see. It's a good question. So more or less why that's happening is because we haven't like allocated enough space for it, and the padding, 24 padding is like not technically enough. I definitely wouldn't worry too much about that. Theoretically, you'd want to probably do this a little bit, like set up all of this a little bit more smartly to like accommodate for that. But for example, you can see here that the P is like a little cut off actually for mine. If I just give it some more space by putting less padding on it, then it should no longer be cut off. Yeah, I can see it, the P isn't there. It's a fair concern. In actuality, you probably won't want this bottom part to like conform to the amount of stuff that's in here. We just kind of hard coded the width to be, or the height here, to be like 220. You'd probably want it to be more dynamic, but just for the sake of this demo, that's all we wanted to do. So any other questions about UI stuff we just did? Yeah, okay. Apologies, that did seem kind of fast. So we will post like the demo code for this also afterwards. But if you all can spare some extra time, one final step, at least on the on our handout, was to at least make this actually show up in the main screen. So one thing we can do if we want to actually show this instead of just in the preview, to show it in our actual app, one thing, if I launch this in my regular app and I can show you what my phone is seeing here. So this is just me showing what's on my regular phone, and it happens to be Resell because I was working on that earlier. So this is my actual phone, and it's just mirroring what it's showing there. It'll build this app in a second, and it'll switch on over when that happens. But for the meantime, we'll start just like making our app very briefly. So if we make our main screen and call the eatery card within it, let's just say that's all we wanted on our main screen right now. If we go over to main activity, you can see here that, okay, well, it just finished, and let me show you what that says. So this is just what's being shown on my phone. I built the app and it says, hello, Android. That's actually just because of the default stuff that's given here. Main activity is sort of the actual thing that's called to build your app. If instead we replace that with our screen, then you should see our screen actually pop up. So we'll let that build. It always has this like default greeting stuff. But you can see here now that I called main screen, OpenShields pops up. And this is actually on the phone, actually deployed. So you can start seeing how with this, although we were just building sort of one component, if we start fleshing this stuff out more, we can start actually building an app. So with that, probably a few more things that I perhaps would want to go over, but do not have the time since I was taking a little bit too long to get this demo. If you have any other questions, feel free to stick around and ask us. We'll stick around for a little bit. But apart from that, thank you all for coming. And that's all for demo today.